Time, Dr. Shawn Wilson, who is head of the Department of Transportation and Development for the state of Louisiana. Hey, Dr. Shawn, how's things? You're in Atlanta this morning, Aaron said?
I am in Atlanta, headed over to Austin for a one-day meeting with other transportation secretaries to talk about the president's infrastructure package.
That's what we want to ask you about. The headline
Exactly.
says, DOTD Secretary, Louisiana totally unprepared for Trump's infrastructure plan. What do you mean?
Well, it's not that the secretary is totally unprepared. What it means is that the state is going to be at a disadvantage based on the principles that have been laid out in the plan. For example, they are incentivizing states who have made new investments in infrastructure. And that simply means states like Louisiana, who have not adjusted our gas tax in 30 years, will not have new revenue. So typically, the federal government says they will put up 90%, we put up 10%. They will put up 80%, we will put up 20%. All indications of things that we've seen, and I was with the folks at the White House last week while in D.C., have indicated projects may not get more than 20% of federal funds out of the new infrastructure package that the president is proposing.
Pardon me, Dr. Shawn. People are hearing you right now, and the first thing they're thinking is, see, there he goes again, just telling Louisianans you're not paying enough in taxes. Is that it?
No, it's not Louisiana, and it's not Shawn. This is what the president says. He wants to incentivize things like tolling. He wants to incentivize non-federal funds toward a project. And for example, if we did a public-private partnership, that's right up their alley because that's going to generate tolls and not just rely on federal funds. If we're going to build projects, he's going to want to know what are locals contributing, i.e. governments. And if you think about the Barksdale announcement that we just made, it would not have been possible had Bossier Parish not given us $6 million over 12 years, and that the MPO provided some of their money that they have control over. Those are the types of things that they're asking for. So we will be prepared for projects. I've got a long list of projects that we can do. The issue is if they're going to compete for those, they're not going to be just formula funds that every state gets. It's going to be competitive, and they're going to be requirements. And the requirements that we've seen so far is that the infrastructure will cover a number of issues. The bill will cover a number of issues, but more importantly, the one piece I read that says no project will receive more than 20%. And that means I will not be able to build a project unless I can come from the state, locals, tolls, a private partner. And if a private partner is going to come, I'm going to have to pay him back with tolls or other state revenue.
So is this a plan that's something that a state like, Texas would easily meet the criterion, that it would be easier for them? And if so, for what reason?
Well, it would be easier for them because they have more funds than they need to match their federal funds. In addition, there's language in what we've seen that calls a look-back period. So if you look back over the last 5 years and you've generated additional revenue, like Texas has, because they've adjusted their gas taxes and did some other things to put funding in infrastructure, they will get extra points and get rewarded for that investment. And so when I sat with the guy who is kind of the architect of what the president's doing, he says, we're awarding and incentivizing investment of non-federal dollars.
So pardon me, basically what you're saying, because you said adjust the gas tax again, are you just saying that Louisiana needs more money?
Well, for transportation, absolutely, because our backlog has gone up to $13.9 billion, and we still have about $15 billion of projects that we want to do, and I'm going to spend every dime that we already get, federal and state. I'm going to spend every one of those pennies on maintaining the road we have right now. So there is not going to be new construction for anything in terms of capacity in Louisiana without new revenue, because I'm going to have to spend more money to take care of the bridges that I have to take care of and overlay the roads that I have to overlay every 15 years.
I heard you
to rebuild I-20.
When you just said that my red lights went off in my head. Does that mean that projects like our I-49, finishing it through the inner city, could be in jeopardy?
Absolutely. it's in jeopardy now. What we've always said was we will proceed with environmental because those are dollars that I can spend, and they're very small. It is nowhere near the $600 to $700 million to build that Innercity Connector, because I'm only going to spend $2 or $3 million completing the environmental. I still will need $700+ million to build whatever they come up with. And so, yeah, we don't have the dollars for that. I don't have the money today to do that.
Wouldn't that be a federal priority, though? It is an interstate.
It is an interstate, but the federal government says to me and to the state and to every other state, you have to maintain a certain level of performance on your system, which means the 1,000 miles of interstate that I already have, it has to operate at a condition that meets a certain standard. That standard is slowly slipping away on I-20 because it is the same 50-year-old interstate that we built when Eisenhower first started building the interstate. The piece through Baton Rouge is 60-plus years old. It's not going to be a perpetual road, and I'm going to have to rebuild and maintain what we have.
So
and that's where those federal dollars will go.
We can't get the federal money because our roads aren't good enough to meet the federal standard because we in Louisiana we're not giving the state enough money to maintain the roads. Is that do I have that right?
Well, you have it somewhat right. It's not that we can't get money. It's the money that we get has to be prioritized on maintaining what you have. So we will continue to get what is in the formula. The funding that we get today, the 18.4 cents that goes to the feds that comes back, those dollars will continue to come, but the feds are going to tell me if I take my $700 million I'm going to get next year and just build the Innercity Connector, I will not do anything else in the state of Louisiana, which means every other of the 16,000 miles I have will continue to erode. And when a bridge closes, I won't open it. And when it's time to overlay a road, I won't open it, overlay it, and it's going to continue to erode and get more expensive.
Are these rules different under Trump than they have been in the past?
Oh, no, absolutely not. They are the same. But what I will tell you, the match difference is for the stimulus program under President Obama, some of that was 100% federal money that they gave us, that I had to provide no match but a commitment. Some of it was 90%. And I only had to put up 10%. What we're seeing and hearing from this administration is you've got to put up more money than the 10% or the 20%, that it's not going to be 100%. I understand what they're doing. They're stretching their dollars further. So if I have to come up with 80 cents and they come up with 20 cents, that's a flipping of the script of what it's been historically under any president.
In a state where we are, according to our governor, rapidly approaching a fiscal cliff, and he's proposing all sorts of ways to get more money from the people of Louisiana, and you're saying that we can't get all this federal matching or at least part of the money from the federal government because we don't have enough money to maintain our roads, it's boy, talk about a rock and a hard place, huh?
Well, it is, and I will tell you, many of the recommendations that the governor is making to fix the cliff came from the legislatively created task force from 2 years ago. He's just adopting the best practices that they've told us we needed to do to fix the state. And in terms of transportation and what we need, that's why we supported and put out a gas tax bill that says, look, whether it's federal money or our money, we don't have enough to maintain. Because when I became secretary, the backlog was $13 billion. Now it's $13.9 billion, and that's after spending hundreds of millions of dollars taking care of our roads, building some new roads, because we were very competitive. We got the Fast Lane grant. We've done a couple of one design build. In fact, we just announced a plan to go forward and use our funds to...
Oh, did we lose him?
I think we've lost him forever.
Power's out in the Atlanta airport again.
Into the new
there
airport.
You are, yeah.
Dr. Shawn, pardon me. Your phone cut out. Repeat what you said from about 15 seconds ago.
So what I'm saying is we're using whatever innovative sources we have to borrow and use to build projects like Barksdale, to fix the bridge to the split in Baton Rouge, and build a new interchange into to the New Orleans airport. That's $1 billion airport under construction, fully out of the ground with no access to the interstate. So we have tremendous needs, and we're doing everything we can. The issue is our dollars aren't getting us close to the finish line of what we need to do in the state for transportation.
Dr. Shawn Wilson, Secretary DOTD, thanks for your time. Safe travels to you, sir.
Thank you.